Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. Don't mind me being down here on the floor. I'm plugging a charger in because this pink affair don't turn on. Oh, that's a beep from something else as well. Yeah, this thing has no power, we're not sure what's going on with it yet. However, I've already tested this, so I know it's not going to work, but if I plug in a charger, we got no light from the charger, nothing at all. So presumably if we plug in a charged battery, it will probably turn on. However, no mains power means we ain't going to get far because we can't charge it. So let's go ahead and take this thing apart and do a visual inspection on the inside. This smells of wine. This has had a wine spill on it before, so that's probably why it's been repaired in the past. It's been opened up for a clean out. That might be to do with the fact that it's not working now. Right, okay, let's get the logic board out there, the motherboard out, so we can check those connections there. So let's keep going. The top cover's been off before, but I don't think that display connector's been out before. That sticker was on pretty well. So if someone has been in here before, they haven't been very deep in here. Maybe just a replacement hard drive or something like that. All right, well. Bingo, bingo. That RAM has got stains all over it, so there's our liquid spill that I was smelling. I don't think that's going to stop this thing powering up unless there is more. Yeah, where there's some, there's more. What's that? Actually, what is that? That's not V-core. That's some kind of power supply. Either way, that's probably a problem. Alright, so firstly let's do a quick acid test. We'll just make sure that this thing is doing the same thing out of the laptop as it's doing in the laptop, and then we'll clean that up and we'll see what we get. Right, let's go for a quick wander around these pins and see if there is actually power getting into the motherboard. Yeah, there's our 20 volts in. What else have we got here? Nothing. There's 1 volt. That's probably our charger sense line. And nothing there. There's a bottom row of pins as well, but to be honest, I've seen enough. The point is, it's not the jack. So that's what we care about there. It's not the charger and it's not the jack. It's going to be that corrosion that we saw. So I'm going to grab the isopropanol and my toothbrush, and we're going to give this thing a little bit of a clean. Alright, what's the rest of the board looking like? A little bit of stains here and there, but no actual corrosion. Might pop the BIOS battery in a sec just for good measure. I think we're okay. There was probably a short circuit in this area. So this is probably USB power or something like that. It might be the charger circuit, but it's all the way on the other side of the board, so I'm not sure. There's not really much over here. Failing that, no, V-core's there. V-core's under the heat pipe there, so it ain't CPU power, which is a good thing. Otherwise, that CPU would be very dead. So yeah, don't know. Let's power that up. Let's see if that's done anything. See if this is an easy one. Oh, That would have been too easy. All right. Okay, let's take some measurements. Okay, so firstly, the resistance across the DC jack is 227K. That's plenty. So there's no direct short circuit. So that means 230 odd K. There's not going to be a short circuit in the DC in or the battery charger with that much resistance there. Usually, if you see if you see low resistance, like less than 80K or so across the DC jack, you probably have an issue in your battery charger or just otherwise in the VCC main power supply. So I guess we could have a look over here and see if any of these guys where we cleaned up are shorted to ground. We'll just take some pot shots here. So let's go to continuity and let's just see if we can buzz this out. Oh. Okay, that's all shorted to ground. Those capacitors should not be beeping. That big diode is working. What we need to do first, it's probably going to be one of these caps. So what I think I might do is just take a bunch of caps off the board and see if we get lucky. If we're not lucky, it's going to be one of those little black dudes. It's going to be like this guy here, or you know, well, this dude had more corrosion on him, so that would be my guess. Well, this board is toast, so no guts, no glory. Let's fire up the hot air gun and let's just start knocking caps off and see what happens. I'm going to try and keep track of where they are, but this is going to be annoying. Here we go. And our survey says... No, of course it wouldn't be that easy. Right, okay, so let's keep clearing. Because of course I have to consider the possibility there's more than one failed component. Right, let's get these two dudes and these two dudes. Yeah, everything is still ruined forever. Bloody hell. Alright, let's take off the FET. I think this guy's a MOSFET anyway. Okay, we're making some progress here because some of these guys are no longer shorted. That's ground. That's no longer shorted. Yeah, so the caps are no longer shorted. That's ground, that's not. Okay, so it's probably one of these guys. Let's do a quick look around here. Right. Oh, good grief. We're all shorted out up here as well. Nah, okay, so we haven't actually fixed anything down here. We've just moved the short back. So we're still shorted up in this direction. So it could be some of those guys. We could clear those guys. Or I could get serious and find a schematic. Ta-da! Okay, we have a schematic. Let's see if we can find anything on it. So firstly, I'm going to have a quick look. So the coil that I was just looking at is PL20, PL20. So let's do a quick search for PL20, see if we can find out roughly where we're working. Okay, so if we have a look at this, this is a buck converter circuit. And if we look a little bit up, we can see another one very, very similar to it. So we've got the one that I've searched down here is our 5-volt rail, and the one above it is set to a 3-volt, and they're identical. They're both, we've got SY8208B, SY8208C. So these circuits are basically identical, except one is configured for 5 volts and one is configured for 3.3. So our problem one is the 5 volt rail. And from this area here is shorted to ground. All of these caps were all shorted to ground. So we're looking for a short around here. Now this guy, that's going to be the black chip that I took off the board. So this is gone and we're still shorted to ground. We do have a path to ground. So what we want to do now is look, where can we get to ground from the coil? So we can get to ground through one of these caps, but we've ripped all of those off. We could go down through here and get to ground through there. We could go through the chip, but we can't because the chip is gone. Or we can't go through there, there's no grounds down there, that goes back to the chip, which is gone. Or there's a short circuit somewhere deeper in the system on the 5 volt rail. So really, considering this is all gone, our best bet is this guy here. So we need to check who that is, and we also need to check that we've actually removed all of these caps and there isn't a secret one that I missed anywhere. So let's have another quick look at the board and study that. So we have removed this entire bank over here. This is all gone. Okay, so that's fine. So what about PC 199? This guy here. So PC 199. Let's see if we can find that on the board. PC 199, PR 176. There. So where are these components? So those are in this block here. So I think that is you, and these guys. So that is probably PC 200, and that's probably PC 175. Yeah, now PC 175, looking at the schematic, that's up here in the top left of the screen, that is 06, and that resistor has 0 on it. So that's basically it's basically a link, it's doing nothing. And then PC 200 is a tiny little 0.1 U. So firstly, let's go in on our coil. Yep, so there's our short, and short. Yep, and not short. Okay, yeah, so that's shorted on one side but not the other, which tallies perfectly with what we were going for. So that's not our issue. And PC 199 we took off the board. So yeah, PC 199, that must have been one of these other caps that I pulled off the board. That must be gone. I would wager, yeah, I have no idea which one it was, but either way, we took all the caps in that area off the board, so it ain't going to be that. It's not going to be PC 199. So the bad news is this means we're now shorted out somewhere deeper in the 5 volt rail. So that's going to be a bitch to find. Right, okay, let's go back to the schematic and let's see what else we can find. Okay, so in that case, our short circuit is somewhere in this 5 volt rail. Let's try searching for that one. Okay, so here it is powering something. Where are we? Where are we? Whoop. What is this? What am I looking at? DDR3. Okay, interesting. So we've got another power system here. This is the DDR power rails. Now I checked on these and they were not shorted. So what else does this rail connect to? So there it is again, same deal on there. Okay, we've got a capacitor to ground there, PC 105. Let's just check that, PC 105. That's going to be in this general area. PC 105. It's going to be that guy there. That goes to ground. But we're under plastic wrap here, and this is all pristine underneath this wrap. and we're on the top of the board, which has shown no signs of liquid damage. So I've no reason to believe that there's any liquid that's gotten under here and busted that cap. So I'm not going to do anything there. I really don't think that's the answer. Let's keep searching for something that's more likely. Okay, so next we've got this, which is 1v1, 1.1 vs5. So this is 1 volt rails. Alright, PL16 is over here next to the BIOS battery. We're looking for PC181, which is the decoupling capacitor that connects the 5 volt input to ground. What did I say? PC181? There it is. PC181. Let's have a look here. So, firstly, is this rail shorted? It is not. It should be ground on one side, but not on the other. Aha! So there's our short circuit again. That's because this is on the shorted 5 volt rail. So, but again, there's no visible damage around this area. I've no reason to believe that this is our culprit. It's going to suck if we just have to rip off everything that's on the 5 volt rail, because this board seems to have a lot of 5 volt logic on it. Okay, let's keep searching. I'm just going to look for something that looks damaged first. Alright, where's the highlight? There it is. Right, what is this? What am I looking at? CPU core. Oh, awesome. Alright, so here's our two-phase V-core. So seeing as it was right at the end of the day, at this point I had a quick poke around CPU V-core. I tried taking off the controller chip for CPU V-core and still got nowhere. And I was just grasping at straws at this point. So I said, yeah, that rail is still shorted. Fuck this board, we're done.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit up. And I went and had a look on eBay and found that I could actually get a replacement board for just under £100, which is fairly reasonable for a replacement motherboard. And given the cost, the time spent versus cost of replacement parts, I figured it wasn't worth going any further with this one. So it was almost certainly possible to actually figure out what was wrong with that board. I just was not willing to put in the time to do it. I might revisit it in a future video where we can try injecting voltage and stuff like that. But with the replacement board being readily available at a reasonable cost, I just moved straight to replacing parts. Okay, right. I've ordered a new board, well, a replacement board from eBay. This is not normally a move I make, especially with HP laptops. However, this board was relatively cheap. It was less than £100, just under. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna roll the dice, and it looked like a sure thing. So it's in good condition. It's exactly the same as the one that's come out of the laptop. So. And again, I looked at the pictures, it didn't have any signs of liquid damage on it, it looks pristine. So yeah, this thing should just drop in. So let's see if it works. If this thing doesn't work, I want everyone to laugh at me in the comments for going against my advice, because I always say to people, don't replace motherboards on laptops, especially HPs, because the chances of your replacement motherboard being faulty are hilariously high. Because the thing about replacement motherboards is people always say sort of, oh, pulled from a working laptop. And it's like, if the laptop is working, then why did you pull the motherboard out of it? At the end of the day, it's always easier to sell a second-hand laptop than it is to sell bits. I mean, you might end up making more money by selling all the bits, but, you've got to sell all the bits separately. It's a pain in the ass. So I am incredibly suspicious about second-hand motherboards that have been pulled out of laptops. Oh, damn it. Didn't put any memory in it. Doi. Okay, right. So the memory module that came out of this thing still looks pretty sketchy. I'll just show you the details on that. As you can see, still a lot of stains on that guy. So this might be okay, it might just need a clean. But I'm going to do an initial test with a known good memory module in there. So I'm just going to grab one of the random DDR3 modules that I've got to one side. There we go, there's a 4 gig module, that'll do. Let's stick you in there. And if that works, we'll then clean up the laptop's HP module, and we'll probably put that back in. But I'll test it with a known good first. Okay, right, I'm gonna leave all of this disconnected because I don't need any of this stuff to actually get a post screen. I just need display, and I just need a power button, in fact. So let's stick the top case back on. Okay, right, power. We have a power light and power button. We have a power on light and screen. Hey, we have a post screen. Boot device not found. I'm digging it. Cool. All right. We'll power that off again, and we will reassemble it properly. Okay, right. So our setup works. Let's drop out my testing memory module, and this one I'm just going to give this just a quick brush down with some alcohol, just so it doesn't look grotty. And we'll just plug it in. And we'll see if we get a boot first. I mean, if it works, and no problem. Although I'm going to have to run mem test on it anyway. Where the Jeffries is my toothbrush gone? All right, that looks a little bit better. It's still a little bit sketchy in some areas, but it's an improvement over what it was. I can bear to put that in the laptop and be not particularly fussed about it. That's just cosmetic, I think. So it'll do. Let's see if it works. Okay, right, well apparently it's good enough to post from. Let's leave that to run. Okay, I left it running overnight and it completed 4 passes with no errors, so that memory is absolutely fine. Let's get this thing reassembled. Pro tip with this laptop though, if you are suffering with one, is I have legitimately upgraded the Wi-Fi on these by putting in a just putting in a different Wi-Fi card. Any standard PCI half card will work with it. I put in a different one with dual antenna fittings, and then I took an old Wi-Fi antenna that I robbed out of another laptop. Have I got any lying around down here? I don't think I do, but basically I stole another Wi-Fi antenna. You take an old laptop to bits, pull the Wi-Fi antenna wire all the way out the whole display assembly and everything. Then I coiled it up, plugged it in, and just left it coiled here, because this is dead space in the laptop, there's nothing here. And so obviously it's not quite as good as having it built into the display assembly, but it meant that the laptop actually had dual Wi-Fi antennas, which drastically improved the Wi-Fi performance on it. Very handy. Alright, there we go everyone. We are on to servicing with this one. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all next time. Goodbye for now.